Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have Derek Dombeck with us. Derek is from Best REI Funding. He is a funding. Sorry, I just chopped off the G there. Best REI Funding. He is an expert at creative deal structuring and financing. So those are two super important things for any investor to know. So I'm super excited to have him on the show. Derek, thanks for hopping on.
Well, thanks for having me, Gabe. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I told you right before we got on here, we like stories. We like to hear how people got started. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story? How'd you get started in real estate?
Well, the very beginning was a lot like most people, right? Infomercial, middle of the night, 2003. And, back then, pre-internet. So infomercial caught my attention. And fast forward a few years, my wife and I, the first 3 years from 2003 until about 2006, we did it like most people do. We went and bought fixer-upper rental properties using all bank financing. And then we got into, and this is in Wisconsin, where I live initially. And then we got into buying and building new construction projects in Florida.
Oh, wow.
2007 hits, and basically our $4 million portfolio that we built up in the first 3 years of business went to a $1 million portfolio in about 6 months.
Jeez.
And
was it mostly single family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And we quickly found out how little control we had over our business because we used banks for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really matter what I said or what I did, because the people I had relationships with at those banks no longer worked there, or if the bank was even open anymore or in existence. Right. So pretty tough time in our life financially. To top that off, my wife and I also discovered, as we were at this point in our early 30s, trying to have a family, that wasn't in the cards for us to have a family naturally. So we were spending $50,000-$60,000 a year trying to, have a child.
Wow.
And so the long version or short version of a long story is we ended up having to get very creative and learn how to, structure deals creatively. And banks were not an option anymore. Credit was gone, had foreclosures on my record, and ended up in bankruptcy eventually, but I fought it off for years because I just didn't want to be that guy. I do believe in taking responsibility for my actions. And so, we were working full-time jobs, running full-time real estate business, flipping deals to try and make 20, 30, 40 grand to just go pay off bad debt. And we did that for quite a few years. Fast forward to today, that was the biggest blessing I ever got in my life, was losing everything, being forced to learn how to get creative. And, now I get to come on and talk with awesome people like you and your listeners and hopefully help them avoid the same mistakes that I made. And I feel like that's really a blessing. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, I would never wish that upon anybody going through, especially, bankruptcy, foreclosures, anything like that. But you always hear it. You made it through 2008. You got up, you went through it, you got to the other side. And I'm sure it sounds like you're the better for it. You've learned the lessons and you've come out with tools that you otherwise wouldn't have had. So, a lot of respect to you for that. And it does sound like that period did give you, I mean, as I said, a lot of lessons. There's a lot of things that you pulled from it. One of them being creative financing. I myself, I've run into, banks can be very difficult. They can be very difficult to work with. And they are, especially when it comes to their new regulations, some deals just don't fit with the bank financing. And if you have anything on your record like bankruptcy, it's almost impossible to get that finished. So I love talking about creative financing because it really does open the door for pretty much any investor to go out there and get dirty. So take me to kind of your first creative financed deal. How did you guys find it? How did you figure out about the concept, and what was the method that you used to close it?
So I honestly couldn't tell you my first because I don't remember it. There's been hundreds of transactions over the years. But I can tell you about a couple of my favorites, and we do a lot of off-market searching. I guess marketing to people that nobody else knows is really selling their property. And every lead that comes in, I make at least 3 different types of offers. So I'm always going to make a cash offer. I'm always going to make 1 or 2 or 3 terms offers. And it's going to really depend on the conversation that I had with the client, the lead, as we're going through that. And what's a little bit unique because of the market I'm in, we live in a fairly rural area. We buy and sell in about a 200-mile area of Wisconsin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm not going to go get face to face with, this home seller immediately until I'm about 85% sure from a phone conversation that we are likely going to move forward. Mm-hmm. So I got really good at talking to people on the phone, working through their challenges and their objections over the phone, reading their tone, because I can't see their body language, but I can hear their tone and their voice, leading them with questions. So I feel like everybody should have a little bit of an elevator pitch when they're talking to a lead. And in the first 2 minutes of every conversation, Gabe, I really want to get this point across, and I'll just throw it out there for your listeners. Gabe, you're the seller. So Gabe, I just want you to know we buy and sell houses in several different ways. All cash is not a problem, but that's typically going to be our lowest offer. If that doesn't work for you, we've bought properties where we've taken over payments, or if you don't have debt, we've made payments over time. In some cases, we just lease your property and we put an option in place to buy it later. I just want you to know that there's multiple ways we can help you today, Gabe. End of elevator pitch.
Perfect.
Okay. What that does, if you do that in the first couple minutes of the conversation, is now as you ask questions throughout the next 15, 20, 30 minutes, they already know why you're asking the questions. Because I need to know, are you behind on your mortgage, so I can use it to structure my offer, right? It overcomes many, many objections right from the beginning.
Yep. Being completely clear up front. That makes sense.
Yeah. So you can probably tell I've said that thousands of times, and it just becomes natural. And through that, I get into these deals. So recently, I want to use a recent deal because it's been the hottest selling market we've had in a few years, right? So April 1st, we closed on a property, and the property was worth $220,000. Our median price point in my market is about 150 to 200, pretty common. So the after repair value was about $220,000. The house needed about a $40,000 rehab, and our cash offer would have been around 105. But we offered this couple $120,000 with $10,000 down and $500 a month payments at 0% interest and they agree to that contract. Why would somebody agree to a 0% interest rate? Why do you think they would do that, Gabe?
No, I mean, I would never do that. So but from especially on the residential side, from a seller's perspective, generally I've found that they just want to get rid of the headache. Whatever they're owning is something that they don't want to own, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get rid of it.
Well, what I found out through my conversation and the discussion with them was they had actually just bought this property for $90,000. Okay. And they were fixing it up for their son because he was relocating back to their hometown for a job, but then that job fell apart. So they had $90,000 into it. They're now selling it for $120,000. They didn't want to pay short-term capital gains.
Okay.
Right. So the conversations is what is the key here. So we structured it to where you'll get some money up front, but I'm going to make some payments to you. You're not paying ordinary income tax rate is what you pay on the interest portion of that payment. So let's hypothetically say I would have gave them 5% interest instead of 0. Well, the portion of that payment that's a capital return is going to be a capital gain tax. The portion of it that's interest income is going to be typically taxed at your ordinary income tax rate.
So wait, pause here real quick, because this is something that I actually didn't know, and I haven't. I love seller financing. I've done a number of deals in it, but I'm not. I would say I'm probably A-, B+ in selling seller finance to sellers. And one of the questions that often comes up is capital gains and how it affects when you're doing a short, less than 2-year sale. How is capital gains applied to a seller finance deal? So you just said that the principal portion of the monthly payment is actually taxed at the capital gains rate. Is that so? If your term is, say, 10 years, is that actually every single year they're paying capital gains on what they paid the principal amount?
Well, it's broken up over the period of the installment sale. Okay. It's not a loan. It's called an installment sale. Now, I don't want to mislead your listeners, because there is still some other portions of this that can be construed differently, right? The reality was they were selling it in less than a year. Okay. So they were still going to be in a short-term capital gain scenario because the sale happened in less than a year.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I incorporate a lease and an option into that same deal, and I don't exercise my option until 1 year and a day, now they're in a long-term capital gain scenario. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I like to stack these different strategies depending on what the seller's needs are.
Interesting. That's funny. I'm actually doing a deal on the commercial side for a self-storage facility, and the seller requested that exact same structure, and I actually didn't know that was possible, but they were talking about it, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So that's great. It works both residential and commercial.
Yes.
Question that pops up when the biggest pushback I usually hear for seller financing, I love the 3 option deals. I do the same thing. I say 1 is cash, 2 terms offer, 1's usually interest only, 1 is standard 30-year amortization type. But the biggest pushback I always hear is, why is your cash offer lower than your seller financed offer? And so what is the response that you generally give sellers for that?
Simple. I just tell them I'm tying up my cash that I could use in other deals, and I'm going to put my cash into the deal that gets me the highest yield. So that's why my cash offer is based where it is. And for people that don't have the cash and they're only looking to do seller financing or terms deals, make sure your cash offer is so undesirable they won't choose it. And if they do, it's so awesome of a deal, you'll find the money, or you'll find a partner, or you'll find something to go with it. Because I get that same pushback, at our events that we host and, REIA meetings and stuff. People are like, yeah, but I don't have the cash. That's fine. Just make that undesirable.
Yep.
Right.
I love it.
So
that makes a lot of sense to me. So have you done this both on the residential and commercial side?
Mostly on the residential side. Our core business now, even though we've flipped and bought and sold hundreds and hundreds of properties over the years, our core business is our lending company.
Mm-hmm.
And that came about because, again, I'm no longer bankable, right? So 2010, 11, 12, when all these great foreclosure deals are out there, I'm not bankable.
Mm-hmm.
So I took on my business partner that I'm partners with to this day. And when I met him, his name is Jeff. Jeff had never used the bank for any investment property in his entire career.
That's great.
Which was awesome to me, right? So he'd always raised private capital, and that's what we started doing together, flipping properties, all with private capital. And we got to the point where we had more private capital available than we had deals. Good problem, but still a problem, because you don't want your investors to go elsewhere with their money.
Yep.
By this point, we'd built up enough relationships with other people throughout the state of Wisconsin that, our investors were willing to lend their money through us to our other friends. And it was, 2 or 3 loans here and there. We pay our investors 9% to use their money, and we charge 12% to lend it out. And so that was really just a side hustle for 5 years, 6 years. But it grew to a point where about 4 years ago, it became much more than a side hustle. And at this point, we're averaging 20 to 25 loans a month going out the door. And, so $3 to $4 million is a pretty average month going out the door in loans. So yeah, we're still out there. I've got 2 properties under contract right now, sub 2, and we're definitely still out there buying and selling. But our success as lenders came from the fact that we knew how to be creative. So we are able to help our clients structure their deals. We're able to help them stay out of trouble if something within their deal starts going awry, like material shortages, contractor issues, right? All these things that everybody's been struggling with the last year or two. And by doing it the way we've done it, educating from the front of the rooms and almost teaching our borrowers how to be good borrowers, it's kept our default rate extremely low. I mean, we've had 8 foreclosures in the last 10 years out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loans.
Wow, that's great.
So yeah, I mean, it's been really great.
That is that's always good to hear. I mean, you guys have been successful on both the seller financing side and the lending side, which that does bring us to the end of our show. I just took a peek at the clock. We have passed the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to have to push us into the quick question round. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Let's do it. It starts with education or books. I'm a big bookie, so give me 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and one for real estate specific. If you're not into books, do anything, podcasts, YouTube channels, whatever you like.
My favorite books are negotiation books. I really like Orrin Claff, who wrote Pitch Anything. And then his follow-up book to that was Flip the Script. So I spent a lot of time learning how to do what I do, but taking little pieces from all different sources. Beyond that, I mean, the obvious Rich Dad, Poor Dad, same answer that almost every person that says on an interview. That certainly had a lot of impact on our lives, and more so now because now my 15-year-old daughter is reading that. So it's come back into I haven't read it in years, but now it's come back into our household. Yep. So
that the little purple Bible for real estate. I love it. And you're right. Many people say it, but I don't give anybody shit, because that was the book that got me started. It's a really good book for anybody just getting started in real estate. That leads us to our next question. This is a good one for you because you've been through so many ups and downs. So if you could go back to the Derek who had 0 experience in real estate, he was just getting started. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Never use a bank.
Good advice. Never use a bank.
You have no control. The bank controls everything. And as a lender, I am in the most control in every deal that we have now, because the lender truly has all the control.
Yep. First position, definitely. That leads us to our next question. And this one is habits. Habits form the foundation of our life. So if you could point to one thing you do every single day that contributes the most to your overall health, well-being, and happiness, what would that be?
I have built our business to fit within our vision for our personal life. And I am home every day when my kids get up, and I'm home every day when my kids come home from school, and family is first and foremost. So the beginning of my career, I worked full time, and I worked every night and every weekend trying to rob from Peter to pay Paul. And once we got past that, I swore I would never do that again. So I would just say the best habit is live your vision for your life, and you will love your life.
Perfect. I love it. That's a good quote to start this podcast off with. And that leads us to the next question. This is tools. Tools are the backbone of every business. So if you could point to one tool that you feel contributes a lot to your business, what tool would that be? And we're talking more software tools, but if you have any other type of tool, shoot it out.
I would say, and it doesn't have to be a specific one, but everybody should have a financial calculator on their phone, so that when you are with a seller and you start talking about different payment scenarios and different structures, you have got to know your numbers.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to use a financial calculator, and nowadays it's so easy. I think the one that's on my phone is fncalculator.com or something like that. But you can sit there and figure out what an actual payment's going to be in 2 seconds flat, and then shuffle the numbers to make it make sense.
You're the first person to say that, and it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm curious if the Apple calculator has that built in. I've never actually looked, but that would be a good thing to check out. All right, and that leads us to the second to last question. This one is for the United States. It sounds like you guys are pretty geographically focused. So if you could point to one place that's not your backyard, so stretching out here, what is the metro that you're most excited about?
I've done business in several different states. Primarily, we do most of our business in Wisconsin. I really like the Dallas Fort Worth area. We happen to get down there quite a bit, and I think it's, from a political standpoint and the way the laws are written, and I think it's business friendly. I think it's a great market.
I have 2 self-storage facilities down there myself. I love DFW, so that's a good response there. And that leads us to the last little segment here. I know you guys have a lot coming up. I know you guys are doing some conferences. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, how people can get in contact with you and involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So we run a conference annually. It's in February every year, and it's called the Generations of Wealth Voyage. And the website is gowvoyage.com. And what we are most proud of is this is an advanced strategies conference that's designed for people that are not really newbies, but it's also very much a networking event. So we have non-selling speakers for 5 days that speak from 9 until 1 in the afternoon. And the rest of the day is yours to network with all the other attendees. And then we have a town hall session in the evening, which is totally optional, which is more of an open discussion type of forum. And that is designed to bring your kids to. We want you to bring your kids, especially 10 and older. My 3 children are 15, 11, and soon to be 5. My 11 and 15-year-old already have a network of friends from all over the country. And if they can build a network in their teenage and early 20 years that we didn't build until we were in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, the sky's the limit for them. So the content is not kid material, but for them to see other kids who have parents that are freaks like us is huge. And so we just signed contracts. We're just starting to put the marketing out, but go to that website. And it's going to be February 27th in Cancun, Mexico. Details will be on the website. And the last thing, Gabe, if it's okay with you, I want to ask your permission publicly here. I've got 2 books, one that I'm the sole author of that's coming out tail end of the year. And I've got another book that I'm co-authoring with a bunch of other awesome business owners, again, coming out at the end of the year. So if anybody wants free versions of that book, the electronic version for free, just simply email me. And Gabe, this is okay, right?
Yeah,
Just
no,
wanna make sure.
absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm quiet because I'm
Oh,
letting you go
all right,
here. I
man.
think
I
this is a
just
great
I
deal.
just want to make sure we're cool.
Yeah,
So first name spelled DEREK at bestreifunding.com. And as soon as those books come out, everybody that shoots me an email and says, saw you on Gabe's show. Love to get a free version of the book when it comes out. As soon as it comes out, we'll be sending them out to everybody that wants one. So that's it, man.
perfect, man. I appreciate that. And I'm sure everybody listening does as well. I will put all those links in the show notes if you guys wanted. That conference sounds great, especially for people with families. What you said about growing a network of people in real estate at a young age. Can't agree more. That sounds great. So that's gowvoyage.com. I will also put the other URL in the show notes. So if y'all want to reach out to Derek and get involved, go ahead and click a little more in the description. It'll pop down the full description. In there, you can find the URLs. So that's it, Derek. That wraps it up. I appreciate you hopping on the show.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thanks so much, Gabe.
Absolutely. And for everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe, at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the investor's quick analysis calculator and offer tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the investor's daily success tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the wholesaler's template for quick assignment cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.